Today we're going to talk boat ramps with Fisheries Development Supervisor Bob Frohlich. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Welcome to the program, Bob.
Thanks, Mike.
Bob, we went into the winter in a drought. Most of our lakes were down. How is that going to affect boat ramps this spring, summer?
Yeah. You're correct, Mike. You know, last year was pretty brutal here in North Dakota. We had dry conditions and extremely hot temperatures, and late last fall in September and October, the majority of the state was under severe or extreme drought conditions. But we got lucky. Like here in Dakota, things change in a hurry, and over the winter months, the conditions improved, and as of a week ago, we were actually 2/3 of the state was out of those drought conditions, and then of course now with this last blizzard that we had, the snowstorm, things have really improved. So locally, the district lakes and runoff rivers and stuff should be fine.
Okay, let's move into like the Missouri River system, which includes Lake Sakawa. A lot of talk about Lake Sakawa the past couple of weeks. First of all, how's this spring blizzard? Is that going to do anything for Lake Sakawa?
Is it going to solve our problems up there? No. It's probably going to help a little bit, short term especially. We'll probably see a slight increase in the rise on Sakawa, maybe Oahe, and maybe even the river out here of, maybe up to a foot. We'll see what the Corps' latest forecast, on May 1st comes out with. But, long term, it's just kind of wait and see. Is this the beginning of the end as far as the drought is concerned? Time will tell. If it is, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Any moisture is appreciated, and a storm of this magnitude definitely will help, yeah.
How is the snowpack in the mountains?
Last week before the storm, it was probably in the 70s in most of the drainages and sub-drainages. As of this morning, that's improved, somewhere in the 80s, somewhere up near 100. But again, it's a big system, and the snow comes all the way from the mountains in Montana. So how much of that will make it will be yet to be determined, I guess. And the other thing to consider too is that the frost was out, and so especially for the local stuff, the local plains runoff that we're going to get, and so a lot of that moisture is probably going to soak into the ground.
Okay, let's talk, Bob. Lake Sakawa, this isn't the first time the water's been low, so we have some low water ramps in Lake Sakawa. What's the procedure there?
Yeah, you're right, Mike. We got kind of lucky because the drought of the late 80s, early 90s, and then the drought in the mid 2000s, we spent a lot of money, millions of dollars up there between us and the Corps and the stakeholders building new low water boat ramps. And so as the water levels are dropping now, and last fall those low water ramps are starting to come back out of the water, so it gives us something to begin with anyway. The majority of the work is reestablishing access roads and parking areas for those low water boat ramps, rip-wrapping the sides of them, removing silt from them, and so there's still a lot of work to do, but at least you've got something to begin with versus the last time when you were starting from scratch.
Anglers just need to be patient.
Patience, yeah. I think, in the end, once we get the work done, right now we've got about 30 ramps that are on the list to be worked on between us and the Corps and the tribe and Parks and Rec and all the stakeholders. And yeah, we'll be hitting that, as soon as the conditions allow, and as soon as we get the permitting in place for that. And, time, a month or two down the road, anglers will have decent access on Sakawa. There's 35 recreation sites on Sakawa, and we're only going to lose 5 of those. So there should be at least 30 of those sites open and usable for the open water period.
So anglers will have access on Lake Sakawa?
They will, yes, Mike.
Okay, let's move from Garrison Dam south on the Missouri River. How are things looking there?
Yeah, the Missouri River is, not influenced as much by snowpack or maybe even drought conditions unless they go into a real conservation mode, because it's all based on releases coming out of the dam. And so, the river ramps, there's 12 of them from the Garrison Dam down to just south of Bismarck, 15 miles or so. And those will be in pretty good shape. There's a few that have some silt and sand on them that, are going to be a little problematic, but the river stretch will probably be okay, other than, again, the local runoff that we're going to get now is going to muddy things up and probably, interfere with the fishing. But the real problem is down on Lake Oahe from, McLean Bottoms down to the state line. That's the headwaters of Lake Oahe, and those ramps are already in tough shape. And the projection is for Oahe not maybe even to come up more than a few inches and then start going the other way. So we're going to have tough conditions. There'll probably only be a couple usable boat ramps, in that stretch of the lake, which is now river.
How about north of Lake Sakawa on the Missouri River system?
The stretch north of Lake Sakawa is what we call the Upper Missouri, and then the Yellowstone over to the Montana border is a lot like the stretch of Lake Oahe south here. It's the headwaters, and that stretch up there is tough also, Mike. We've got 3 or 4 boat ramps up there, and currently 2 or 3 of them are in pretty tough shape. We've got funding set aside, and we're working on the permitting to go ahead and reconstruct 2 or 3 of those boat ramps. The confluence up there, the Yellowstone at Suntime Park.
Let's move to another big lake in North Dakota, Devil's Lake in the northeast. How are they looking?
Yep. Devil's Lake last year in the fall was looking really tough. There's 10 boating access sites up there, and 6 of those were in jeopardy of becoming unusable due to the low water up there. They had lost about 2 feet last year, and if conditions would have stayed the same and kept going down, we would have lost a lot of ramps and spent a lot of money up there. But from October of last year until the spring of this year, they had a lot of snow in the basin up there, and the projections were for the lake to come up a couple feet. So that kind of took a little bit of the burden off us there, and now this most recent snowstorm will make that even better. So I think Devil's Lake is going to fare very well. We don't really have anything planned up there for this spring at all.
Okay, let's talk district lakes, Bob. We manage over 400 district lakes. Not all have boat ramps, but how are the district lakes looking, and how did this spring blizzard help those lakes?
The district lakes, last year were the western part of the state with that drought that we had were in tough shape. A lot of those lakes were down anywhere from 2 to 7 feet. And then as you moved east, the conditions got a little bit better. But we had lakes as far east as Fargo that were down, and people were backing off the bottom end of boat ramps. But again, over the winter months, things improved, and now with this latest blizzard, again, depends on how much runoff we get or how much soaks in, but we're not really expecting a whole lot of problems on the district lakes as well. They should all fill up, and conditions, boating access should be very well.
Okay, this is the time of year where your crews they're visiting a lot of lakes. What are they doing?
This time of the year, as soon as the ice goes out, is a time when they travel around the state and they just check ramps to make sure that they're open, usable, that there's no buckled plank, no buckled metal sections. We haul a lot of our docks around. The guys spend the whole winter months building new docks and piers, and then the spring is a time when they go out and put new docks and piers in the lakes and fix ramps. And managing those 400 water bodies, the main mission and goal is to just make sure everything's open and usable for the public.
Bob, every year you guys construct new boat ramps at certain lakes. What lakes do you have going this year?
Yeah, this year is probably going to be a real busy year for us. In addition to all the boating access work that we're going to be doing on Lake Sakawa, we've also got some carryover projects on a lot of our district lakes. We've got a big ramp project down here in Kidder County at Lake Alkaline, where we're moving and building on a brand new site. We've also got some reconstruction projects on a couple other district lakes, Twin Lakes and Lake Williams. And then, we've got maybe some extension projects, depending again on how much runoff we get and what the water levels are. But it's going to be a busy year for our boating access crew for sure.
Okay, how about fish cleaning stations?
Our fish cleaning stations, we're really not adding a lot. I think we're adding 1 new one this year, but the big thing with the fish cleaning stations is, as I've mentioned in the previous years, is that we're converting over to that new type of a grinder station unit. It seems to be more reliable, more efficient, and definitely more durable. We've put in 18 of those so far, and we've got another 7 planned. Basically what we do is we go to an existing station, and when the motor goes down or it starts giving us problems, we just basically swap it out with a new one. And those are working really well, and it's very exciting. They're very popular with the public. We get a lot of positive comments, and definitely well received.
A lot of great information, Bob. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.